It's new head day. Diodario sent me some stuff. I've got to switch out a bunch of heads on some snare drums because this week I brought a 16-inch floor tom to add to my stuff, but a friend of mine always kind of wanted me to do a tuning video because I tune them different ways, mainly for what my main sound is. So I think I might try that. So this is kind of a tuning video that I'll put a bunch of time lapse up of me switching a bunch of drum heads out for this DW kit. Going to, I think I'm using all G2s. I believe I might use an ECC2 resin on the bottom of the 16. I'm not real sure. I'm gonna have to try a couple of different things to see what sounds correct. But I love the way this sounds. And I love the way that sounds back in Nashville. But I've got to make these all match now. So, oh well, let's tune some drums. It's early. Whew. From Crush. This thing weighs 1,000,000 pounds. It is absolutely ridiculous. I'm switching this out from the hybrid head because I'm not playing out like that anymore. I played these live because they were consistent and they never break. These things are a beast. My first ones I got, I think 6 years ago, that I used on one of my acrylic snare drums that I used for every gig for like 2 years. Still hasn't broken. Yes, and they still sound exactly the same. Amazing. Hazy 300 on the bottom, 30 snares on this guy. So that's just kind of how I did it. I'd already tuned the bottom head to a medium tuning. Mainly, we're gonna work on the top. Power center, reverse dot. To me, snares are actually easier to tune than toms. Finger tighten everything. Okay, now that these things are finger tight, I'm actually going to go with a snare drum. 2 turns of this, like 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 full turns, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, when you finger tighten, when you pull these pieces down, it's going to make the whole rim drop a little bit. So these are now loose. You either have to tighten them a little bit with this key, this is a cool key just because of that. You can barely do finger tightening with that little guy and put pressure on it. I hold one lug with my hand. I've done this ever since I was a kid. I hold one lug with my hand so I know where my starting point is and I never get lost about where my starting point is. So now that's finger tight again. All right, some of these I went a little further. Tension rod was calling in the lug somewhere. It was being difficult. But I used my feel, because if you turn the key slowly, you can kind of feel the resistance change on the drum head as it pulls tighter down. Okay, I'm going to explain this a little bit different because that's my starting point, and I've just tapped with a key. Your finger is fine, you can hit a little harder, but when it comes down to it, a stick, you can hear the absolute vibration. My finger and the tapping the key gets me really close to where the pitch is. If this is a little higher than this one, boom, boom, boom. They all in my ears sound ting, 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 even. So on ting, 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 ting. Now all I'm going to do is just hit each one with a stick. Absolutely perfect. Snare drums, for some reason, I don't actually take as much time to tune as I do toms. Toms have such a long resonance that we're about to have to do those in a minute, all the toms, and it will take me a whole lot longer than this. Now, all I need to do, since I know that top head is even all the way around, and that's it, all we're doing is trying to get it even. To me, snare drums don't matter as much as being perfectly in tune as a tom does, just because of the sustain that they naturally have. Snare drums are kind of quick and dead, and a lot of times have gates, and we put rings on them to kind of make them not sing out as much, to make them sound better for different songs. It's all about is what it sounds like does in the mix. So now I need to make sure the bottom head, all right, the bottom head, it needs to be a little higher to me than the top head. If you put it a little lower, it makes it kind of sound like a thuddy drum. It sounds like some of those Van Halen records. That's what that drum sounds like. If you tune the bottom head lower than the top, that's where you'll get that sound. But if you tune it higher, you're going to get more response out of the snares. 30s, these are going to be responsive. That's it. That's it. So back down. Sounds right. We'll tighten this up. That sounds actually pretty good. It's a little chunky sounding because of this. Every drum has a sweet spot. And you see guys that have these little center dots in their drum, and that's amazing that they're so precise, because I guess I'm way too flamboyant or something on stage. I don't have a clue. But my dot is a lot bigger. When I'm twirling a stick, it hits in a little random places, but I'm aiming for the right place. But a lot of drums have these different sweet spots. When you do rim clicks lay like this. And when you put them through a mic, it sounds amazing. And you always go over a lug when you're doing one of these. And that's what will end up sounding right over there. But every drum has a weird sweet spot, and usually it's a little off center over here, and it makes the drum sing. Instead of it being such a staccato sound like a finger snap, if it comes over here, it opens the drum up, and you can hear the shell, and you can hear what the materials are made out of more, instead of just the attack and the snares. So you can hear the ring of the brass. Try to hit a little off. I don't try to hit in the center. I do. And I've talked to some other guys that do this, that record. It's the same thing for them. Everything's a little off center. And every rim click is always right over the lug, because that's the hardest part of the drum, so you're going to get a more solid sound. It's going to be a little louder. Instead of the shell giving some and the rim giving, this doesn't give. Bam, solid. There we go. So there's our first one.